Hey, gang. I wanted to spend just a few minutes talking as I would if I were able to be in class with you about IAGO. You've chosen IAGO. He is a great choice. And the first thing you really want to be thinking about is IAGO a dynamic character, meaning he changes over the course of the play, or is he a static character? He's the same as he was at the start, that he is at the end. That question is important because if you answer it one way, it'll lead you in a direction that's different than if you answer it another way. And it will also impact what you're going to do and how you're going to do it as far as the so what component of your thesis statement. So the trick with IAGO, there are a few things that I want to just kind of put on your radar. One pitfall that I've seen students make with him is they select adjectives out of your 3 or 4 adjectives you're going to use to be your what portion of your thesis statement. They choose things that are redundant. So they'll say things like IAGO's manipulative and he's deceptive. Well, you know what? That's pretty much the same thing. So you want to be thinking about IAGO in terms of how he moves through the play. So when we first meet him, we know that he is struck by jealousy. So jealousy is definitely a potential trait you're going to want to explore. We know that he's manipulative or deceitful. We definitely see that in all of his machinations. By the end of the play, the word that you choose to describe him really is up to you. But how do you see his behavior? I mean, he knowingly plans for Desdemona's murder, for Cassio's murder, for Roderigo. He participates in Roderigo's stabbing. I mean, he just becomes so ruthless and so vengeful that I wonder, is he sociopathic? Is he, just a murderer, So what words are you going to use? Those are your what. The so what for IAGO could go in many different directions. It could be as simple as Shakespeare characterizes IAGO as initially jealous, increasingly paranoid, and finally ruthless, to show the dramatic impact jealousy can have on the human soul or psyche, something like that. So the what in that instance, the 3 traits would be, as I mentioned, right? Jealous, paranoid, and finally ruthless. And I've got those organized in my head according to how the play plays out. Kind of like Act 1, Act 3, Act 5. I see his, increasing vengeance. The so what, though, you could take it in 100 different ways. But essentially, a so what statement is, what does Shakespeare use this characterization to suggest? To suggest about people, to suggest about society, to suggest philosophically, to suggest politically, to suggest about psychology. What are you going to claim? That's the part that you can argue. And that's the part that makes this an interesting essay. Because I have to say, if you stop just at the what and say, IAGO is blank, blank, and blank, I may fall asleep. But if you say IAGO is blank, blank, and blank, ultimately to suggest something that I can agree or disagree with, then that's going to be much more interesting. So please pay attention to that planning document and how I'm trying to encourage you to think of those traits with your chosen character over time. And I'm trying to have you think about selecting evidence, both quotes and just descriptive, that the fact that he, if you were trying to prove that he becomes ruthless, the fact that he, can agree to have Desdemona murdered in her bed for a crime she didn't commit. The fact that he agrees for all of these things. The fact that at the end, he refuses to apologize. He refuses to say he regrets anything. He is defiant to the very last breath. And he is so mean about it. So think about it, what you're really thinking about IAGO. You can draft your thesis statement, and I'll try to take a peek at it as quickly as I can and give you some feedback on it. You want to make sure that's really solid as the anchor for your paper, that your traits are organized in the way you're going to present your essay. So the first trait should be the first body paragraph, the second trait, second body paragraph, etc. And the so what can really be more fully explored at the end. But keeping in mind that you want to prove your thesis, you want to tie back to it every now and again at the end of each paragraph, perhaps, and make sure that you're bringing your reader through your argument. Okay? So as far as research for IAGO, I would recommend, if you're having difficulty, that you could check in with during class time. You could certainly just get a pass and pop down to the media center. There are a couple great books of essays on Othello that our library has. You could try to check one of those out. You could also take a peek at some of the sample essays where they cite some articles that have been helpful in the past on IAGO. Just be careful that you're using, high quality research and not just some Google site that you found from Joe in Montana, who may have interesting things to say, but you really want to be citing from .edu resources, .org resources, and be careful of some of those other types of resources. All right, so good luck on IAGO. Good choice, should be kind of fun. So let me know how it goes. Okay.